My name's Tim. A lot of you know me as Geo on the forums. I am here to give you my in the bag. How this came about was really through RDG and Jamie. Um, Thrown their disc for many years. I've known them for many years, and eventually a couple weeks ago I was like, Jamie, what can I do to help you guys? Huge fan, really want to see what I can do. Let's go. What can I do to help you and Josh? And he came down and he's like, hey, why don't you be ambassador? And so here I am as an ambassador for RDG. Gonna run you through what's in my bag, why I like their molds, and we'll go from there. Thanks for taking the time to listen. All right, so any good in the bag should really start with the bag. The bag I'm using, if I'm carrying all my discs in the summertime, would be the Fossa Skinny 2. Main reason is it's lightweight. It's got all the storage for discs I need, probably more than I need, as well as all the pockets for things I need, and not the pockets for items I don't. I have a Fossa Pro for if I want to play during the winter and I need warm layers and bulky layers and I need places to stash them. And I also have a couple smaller bags, the Gecko, as well as a figure crunch box, depending on what I do. But this is my go-to bag. Huge fan of Fossa as a company. If you've not heard with them, definitely check them out. Again, disclaimer, I'm going to mention a lot of companies throughout this video. The only one I'm directly affiliated with is Reptilian Disc Golf. All the other companies are just companies I'm a huge fan of, and I feel like they deserve a shout out because they make good stuff. Tana is a great example of that. As I was getting my bag ready for this video, sort of cleaning up so it wasn't filthy, I noticed that at some point during one of my cleanings I must have removed the side support from this side here. As you can see, this side's nice and rigid. This bag's slumping. It should sit up like this, but it's slumping like this. That's because I've misplaced this support. Reached out to Fossa and like, hey, what can I do? They said, hey, we'll send you one. And I asked them to send me two. I'll pay for whatever cost to send me two. So for a very reasonable cost, they're sending me an extra one out here, as well as another extra. So in case I'm ever stupid again, I misplace one of these, I'm not in a hurt. But the fact that you can replace those at all is awesome. It's just all the little details in Fossa bags, which really makes them worth it. So yeah, now we'll go ahead and transition to some of the accessories that I have in my bag, and then we'll get to what everyone really cares about, which is the discs. We carry lots of stuff with us when we disc golf. The number one thing, I disc golf a lot in the morning. There's this really sweet little pocket here. I always have coffee. I love this insulated stainless steel mug I got from Birdie Fuel. I'm usually drinking Birdie Fuel coffee out of it. Pond Diver is my favorite right now for iced coffee. Definitely check it out. Birdie Fuel is great. They actually do a lot of support of a lot of touring pros. So I'm a huge fan of supporting touring pros, especially in this time of craziness we've got going on, that they're maybe not getting some of the money that they hopefully should. So definitely check out Birdie Fuel. But the advantage is, if you have one of these bags, this mug fits in that pocket perfectly. Always have this. If you see me in the morning, you're playing around with me, and if I haven't had my coffee or I don't have this with me, you probably don't want to be anywhere near me. I'm probably pretty grumpy. Besides that, being here in the especially today, the reason we're in a basement is because it's been pouring rain. Towels. So this towel you see here, it's from Flight Towel. A lot of you might know them for other reasons, which I'll get to in a second. But I picked this towel up because this towel does not drag the ground. Yet it is still a reasonably sized towel, a good quality Welfare knit towel. They call this their mini towel, even though it's not mini. It is a great item to hang on a bag where you're not dragging the ground. Good high quality towel. What a lot of you who know Flight Towel know them for is probably this. This is a towel with part of a sacrificial disc on it, and don't worry, this stuff doesn't go to use. They actually reuse the pieces here. But yeah, so I was always a guy who warmed up with a towel, and then I saw this, and I was like, well, why not warm up with a towel with a disc on it? It's really cool. I really dig it. For me, I have one sort of wonky finger. Being able to warm up with my hand on a disc like this with the resistance sort of helps get some limberness in my arms. I'm a huge fan of this. This is a Star T-Bird, and definitely going to track down maybe a tyrant that somebody has broken at some point or something from RDG, and send it into the flight tile guys like, hey, can you make me some tiles with that disc on it, because I'm throwing tyrants, might as well have a tyrant tile. But definitely a good product. All kinds of trilogy disc, Nova, Discraft, I think even some MVP that on their tiles. So very cool. Again, I'll put a link down there. But generally, got plenty of Sharpies for all the discs that I need to name. Usually carrying fruit, granola bars. I really like Cliff Blocks for some good quick energy and cyclists as well. So this is good. This is carried over from cycling. I'll snack on these when I don't want something heavy. I want something light and something sugary with energy. These are good. And then minis. So I'm usually got 1 or 2 minis. They're sort of interchangeable. I really like the bird minis because they just fit in my pocket so well, because half the times I don't put them back in the bag, and I think they're cool. They got a mountain on them. They actually fly great. They're super low profile. Or if I'm in a fidgety mood and I want to, this is usually one of my pockets. These, I think these are Zing Cosmos, but they came from Birdie Fuel. Smell like coffee, which is a plus. Sort of the 2 minis. A mini's a mini is a mini. If I'm picking minis, it's either going to be a Cosmo or one of these, mainly because I like to sit here and stress squeeze, or this one, nice and little hard, and I'll just fiddle with. So that about sums it up for the accessories. Let's go ahead and start getting into the meat and go into the discs. Alright, putters. I feel like that's a fitting place to start, considering Reptilian Disc Golf really started with their putters. So the first 2 discs from Reptilian were the Scale and the Serpent. I am right now putting with the Serpent. Why the Serpent suits me is, 1, big, thick, chunky. I like my putters chunky. I like them to fit my hand. I like them to be a very positive feeling. This does that. A lot of putters that do that are sort of overstable, or have the possibility to be overstable. The Serpent is as straight flying a putter as you can get, and it has very low glide. So this is like everything I want into user input is 100% output. I'm not getting any extra hook that I gotta account for. I'm not getting any extra glide that I really account for. It's just very one-to-one. That I throw it, I know where it's gonna go. I know how much oomph I'm putting on it. I'm not gonna get some of the weirdness that has its upsides and downsides. I mean, obviously you're gonna have to put more into this to get it to the basket. But I just like the one-to-one. I like not having to account for any extra glide or think about any extra glide or any extra overstability. It's just a very point and shoot. You're not gonna go very far on your disc. But in saying that, I will attempt to make long putts. I'm not always the best at making them. But if I want something with a little more glide than that fossil fuel, I have an old chalky Flex. This is just an older Serpent that molded up with a little bit of extra dome on it. This is still very neutral, very straight flyer. It has just a little bit more carry to it. So if I really want to reach out there for something, I'll go for this and get that little bit of extra carry. And yeah, you got to have the sweet stamps. It's what I love. One of the things I love about Reptilian is always some cool stamps. And not over the top. So yeah, this is my glidey. If I need a little bit extra glide, putter to go to. Now we'll go for the discs that I typically approach with, although sometimes I'll putt with some of these. First we'll go to the other putter that sometimes I switch back and forth with. This is the Reptilian Disc Golf Scale. This was their very first disc. It is crafted off the Wizard bottom with the Reptilian top. So the Serpent is the Reptilian top and the Magic bottom. This is just a good disc. It has a little bit harder of a finish than a Wizard, a little bit less glide than a Wizard. What I'll use this for is if I'm putting into a headwind or there's a big left to right wind. I'm right-handed and I need to fight that wind. This disc will do that for me. I'll also use this on do or die approaches where it's just like I cannot go past the basket. I need a very predictable finish. I need to hook up. I need it to sit, and I need it not to glide. No chance of gliding. This is what I'll go for. It's just super predictable. Sometimes I'll throw a K2 Berg in there that does somewhat the same thing as this. I just get a cleaner release off this. Then I have and Casablast. Probably pronounced some of these discs wrong. I apologize. Feel free to roast me. I will learn. But the Casablast Rico. Man, this is the straightest flying disc and the truest flying, glidiest, just straight, let it go and just watch it glide in a straight line disc I think I've ever thrown in my entire life. I love this thing for approaches. This is just what I use when I've got a relatively clear shot for a basket or anything where I need a gentle Annie or a gentle hyzer into the basket, or something where I can't put a lot onto or anything. Like, this is my go-to disc. It's a thing of beauty to watch this thing just fly and glide. This is the K1 plastic. I personally feel like the K1 plastic has a little bit more glide than the K3. I have K3, but I use this K1 a bunch. Just a super straight disc. Of course, being from St. Louis, the land of Gateway, no bag is complete without a wizard. This is a 175 hemp wizard with the super sweet Par Plastics Sabertooth stamp. Can't say enough about the guy at Par Plastics. Mr. Tribbs, he is just great. Great. 6 stamp. He's my #1 go-to for Casablast. Has all kinds of other brands. Definitely check out Facebook. He goes by B Tribbs. But Par Plastics, I'll put a link down there. You can find yourself some 6 stamp discs like this, as well as Casablast. Again, he's my #1 Casablast hookup. Everyone knows how a wizard flies. I don't really need to explain a wizard, but what I use a wizard for is to fly almost exactly the same line as a Rico, but I need it to hook up a little bit more at the end. Sometimes when you're reaching out and you're trying to flex an approach in, the Rico would just hold that line, but if I want it to get a little bit farther left, I'm definitely reaching out to the wizard. Sometimes, I will putt with this from farther out as well to get the little bit extra glide this has. But just a great disc. When I've got the room, I'm gonna put one in my bag. Being from St. Louis, you gotta have a gateway wizard. It's a wizard. There's enough said. And again, super sweet Sabertooth stamp from Par Plastics. And then I really have one more putter. This is I'm not going to touch this disc. We'll go into that disc at the end. This is a Gateway Chief. This is a disc that goes in and out of my bag all the time. I sort of have a love-hate relationship with it, and it's mainly because I find the Gateway Chief to be very form punishing, meaning that if you throw it poorly, you'll know it. But when you throw this disc right, it's just beauty. I'll use this as a tweener between my mids. If I want something that's going a little faster, a little farther than for me, for my Rico or my Wizard, I can't comfortably grip those in a power grip. They get a lot on it, but the Chief I can. I'll really put something on it. Hyzer flip this up, and Hyzer, it's just a very versatile disc. I throw a lot of these. Usually I'll have a Lizard Chief stamped one of these. I lost my last Lizard Chief stamped. I'm on the hunt for them. So if anyone sees any Gateway Chiefs and about this color with a Lizard Chief on it, you have it, you don't want it, let me know. We'll see what we can do. But Chief is a great disc. Definitely worth checking out. So beyond that, we're gonna go into mids here. Okay, mids. I don't throw a whole lot of mids, partially because I'm using a Chief or something similar, or sort of because I'm really just using short fairway. But there are some very key mids that I do have. So for my very neutral flight, I have a Casablast Goat. Again, Par Plastics, awesome. Check them out. This is the Kitty. Power Kitty, just super sweet stamp. Man, I love these guys. I don't carry 2 of these typically. I only carry 1. I tend to carry this in places that are wooded, and a little bit darker because it is a neon freaking day glow yellow. It's hard to miss this. Being colorblind and bright or dead grass, sometimes I have a hard time seeing this, so then I will grab this like sort of hack dye job I did on this white one here, and I'll throw this instead. But really, same disc. I'm using this a lot like a V-Rock and way nicer plastic. I didn't really like how the premium V-Rocks flew as much. I like the traditional V-Rock. For me, this flies a lot like the DX V-Rock, but in a great plastic. It's just a good straight flying disc. I'll use this on lines where I'd want to use my Rico perhaps, but I need it to carry more. I need to have that little bit extra glide. I need it to get there. That's really when I'll go for the goat. But yeah, it's just a great line shaping disc. I use this a lot, just to shape lines. Again, good disc. Only carrying one in the bag because I mean there's really only reason to have one because it's just holds its line. So good disc. Beyond that, we'll go to what is probably my favorite disc in the RDG lineup, and that's the Gila. So usually I'll have 3 of these in the bag, maybe expanding on the 4 to see how one of these discs works out. But this fossil, this is courtesy of the man himself, Jamie. This is a starting to get worn in Gila. It's not super beat. This is just a disc that I usually hook up. I'm not really ever throwing a lot of mids off the tee. For some reason it just doesn't seem to me, but I got the basket in mind. I can see it. This is what I'm throwing to get to the basket typically. What this does for me is this is beat in, and this is the fossil plastic, and this beats in just enough to where I can throw it on a hyzer and it comes up a little bit and just sort of holds the line and goes in. And just it's a very predictable, throw it flat, it'll finish left, a nice good gentle finish left, not a hard dump, not a big carry left, just a good finish left. Eventually what I'm gonna do is I'll work this one into a real hyzer flip machine, hyzer flip to right. Not quite there yet, which is why I still have a goat, but this one will get worked in there. And typically what I'd also have is I'd have a fresher fossil in there. Just don't have that in my bag right now. That's coming up. I will be getting a new one soon. So then we'll go to the other typical staple in my bag. This one is always in there. This is the armor Gila. Throwing it upside down. The armor, man, can't say enough about this. This disc is just predictable. Not a whole lot of glide. This is when I'm gonna throw a nice hard chip hyzer in, get it in, come in to skip into the basket, and just hyzer. When I'm throwing this, it's throwing a hyzer. Unless I'm throwing it straight into a high headwind, and I'm worried about one of my fossil Gilas being beat in a little bit, and I need it to finish left. I can always trust that this armor, being as tough as it is, it has not lost its stability. It's always finishing left, and this disc definitely will skip on me some. So this is just that super overstable, need to have in the bag disc. Great disc. The Gila that I'm trying out, that I'm playing with, that I didn't originally play with a lot, and I'm starting to get used to, is the Amber. The Amber has a bit more dome to it. What I'm finding with the Amber is I'm finding it is a little bit better of a line shaping disc than the flatter ones, especially when the heel is new, and even in fossil. It has a tad bit more glide. So for me, what that allows me to do is it means I can put it on a flex line, and it's got enough glide that at my arm speed it'll have enough time so it just doesn't sort of start Andy and turn over and go. It'll ride it a little bit and come back and give you that nice S. Definitely going to finish left, definitely still overstable, but with a little bit of dome it seems to want to work lines a little bit more. So I don't know in the long run where this particular disc will have its place. Don't know if I'll switch to carrying 4 Gilas in a big bag, but man, I like the line shaping that this is going to get you. So I think if you're looking for a good line shaping Gila with a tad bit more glide, this is the guy to go to. This is a cool disc. love the plastic, the amber plastic. It's flexible, it's grippy, but this is not a floppy disc. You're going to be able to get a good rip on it without like feeling it flex. You know, some discs you get like G-Star, yeah, you feel like you throw it and it's flexing as you throw it. That's not the case with this. This is just a great disc. So that's it for my mids. We'll move on from there. Okay, fairways. I carry a lot of fairways in my bag. But say I can't really tell you what it is, but I know exactly what it is because there's a couple molds I really like, and I think when you get in the drivers, you really start carrying multiples of one mold. So the slowest fairway I carry in my bag, and I think it's the reason I also don't carry or throw a whole lot of neutral mids, is because of the Polaris LS. I have 3 of these in the bag. I have my I call it Tiger Stripe one. This thing is beat to snot. This really is I can throw this on a hyzer, it'll flip the flat, it'll turn over disc. This is my any disc. It's not quite at my arm speed to where it's like I throw it straight and it goes into a roller. It'll get there eventually, and it'll probably stay in my bag there because I don't really have a good roller disc. Occasionally I carry a real Beat DX Stingray, but this will be go-to. But this is my hyzer flip into right disc. A little bit on the straighter side then, I have a Polaris LS. This is actually one of my first Polaris LSs I ever got. This disc is flipped to straight. If I throw it straight, it'll finish a little left, just a hair, just a slow finish left. And then I have my beefier one. This is throw it level, it's going to finish left. Throw it a hyzer, it'll want to hold the hyzer. It'll flip up a little bit in the hyzer flight, and then it'll come back left. But this one still finishes consistently left, even when thrown flat. It'll fight out of a little bit of an ante too. So you can throw it in an anhyzer and it'll flip and it'll finish pretty flat. So don't really carry a one of these that's even more overstable than that, because between my Gila and some of the other discs coming up, I don't really feel the need to. So if I have a little bit more room to work on a fairway, or I want a little bit more glide, the Polarises aren't tremendously glidey. That's when I pull out my JLSs. Right now, I'm bagging 2. And I have just a Millennium Standard one. This is throw it flat, it starts to go right a little bit. This is my more understable one. Eventually this will probably get beat in to where it is a little more of a turnover disc. Then it might overlap with my Polarises, we'll sort of see. But right now it's the throw it flat, and wants to go a little bit right, it'll usually straighten out. We're not really turning over, it just wants to drift a little bit right. Which is why I usually throw my JLSs when I have a little bit more room, is they tend to like to work side to side a little more. Then I have the one disc that I think that I've ever hoarded, other than our RDG stuff, is my 2014 Am World Series JLSs. If you have any of these in 170 and below that you don't want, let me know. I love these discs. They're on the more stable side of a JLS. This one's starting to get worked in, but it's just, you can throw a little bit of a flex to it as long as you're not giving it 100%. It'll fight out of it. You can throw it in a nice hyzer. It has a good glide. It's a little domier. I know a lot of JLS guys don't like some of the serious stuff because it is a little bit domier. For me, though, I want the extra glide, so I like the little bit of dome. The little bit extra stability that beats out of this as it wears in. But this is just it's predictable. It's always going to finish a little bit left. I'm not really ever going to get this in my arm speed in the type of power situations I'd be throwing this disc. I'm not ever going to throw it on the ante. It'll hold it, but it'll still want to flatten out as it gets near the end. So these are awesome discs. I used to carry a QJLS until the next disc came along, which for me is the Reptilian Tyrant. This is the second run. I threw the first run ones. They were pink, they were light pink, and I wasn't as huge of a fan of them. Jamie gave me some of these second one runs and was like, try these. And I like these a lot more. These tend to be a little less stable than the first run ones. When I get this beat in, it is going to fly like that worn in T-Bird for me. So it's gonna close in that depth of the JLS that I used to throw a QJ for. Right now they're a little more stable than that, but they're just I can trust these discs to finish left. I'll throw it on flat. I can throw it flat and low, and it'll hold low, and then come left and give me a nice skip. I can throw it up high. It's going to finish left. My arm speed, I'm not turning this disc over. I don't know many people personally who are turning this disc over, although I'm sure there are. But just for me, this is perfect for that. I don't throw these on a lot of flexes. They're not as high glide as some for me, and for me, a lot of the flex shots I use a high glide disc. But I mean, this is just straight, predictable, low lines, high hyzers, just a great disc. If you want to try a predictable fairway, definitely find a Tyrant. They're great. Just great discs. Feel great. It's just awesome. So technically, people will consider these fairways. They're 9 speeds though, so for me, they're like a tweener disc, or so, you know, and that is more Castablast again. Par Plastics, awesome. Again, apologize if I butcher the pronunciations. I've got a Folk and a Lots. Usually I would carry an extra Lots, but with the Tyrant, I don't feel like I need to. These are both super lightweight. Usually what I do is I'd carry a normal weight Lots. That would be more overstable. These discs, this Folk, this is a 156 gram K1 Folk. I throw this flat, it's turning over. I throw this on a hyzer flip, it's going to go straight, and it'll usually drift right. But if it catches wind, it's going to turn over. This is a great tailwind disc. I want to throw this disc when I've got a wide open fairway and I've got lots of room to work with. It's just, it wants to flip up, so I can throw some good hyzer flips on a calm day with it. On a little bit windier day, when I got any kind of a headwind or crosswind, and I still want that same flight. This is a lightweight. This is 156 gram Lots. This one flies sort of like, if you're familiar with what a Folk feels like, this flies what a normal weight Folk flies like. It's just lighter. This one, it's throw it at a little bit of hyzer, it flips up, it rides, might ride light a little bit and goes left. I can typically get this one to flex for me. I'll throw it on a nanny, it'll come in, it'll flex in and out. Be good on a tailwind day. I like having these light discs when I can just, being my arm speed, I can really wail on these and be a little more controlled usually than I can some high-speed drivers. So these are good. As far as high-speed drivers, currently I only carry 2. These are definitely faster than my arm speed and my skill is, but super utility, and it's sort of nice to have them. One of these here is the Rask. This will actually be replaced by a slower disc, but a disc I'll still get the same utility out of, being the Velociraptor, when I get a couple of those going. But man, if you haven't thrown a Rask, first of all, it's sort of weird. Got this weird little rim going. But man, these things are just super overstable. Tomahawks, super high headwind, spike hyzers, great. And then I have my Grim, which I throw the Grim. It'll get me an extra 20-30 feet on my other distance drivers. I'm just throwing these when I got a wide open field, no out of bounds. I'm just trying to get extra distance. Super sweet die by Par Plastics. Good to check out. Now we'll just sort of go on to my one utility disc here, which is the Stego. The Stego, man. Well, any of you from DGCR has heard it. I know Drew Gibson threw this. This thing is just stupid overstable. Great disc to play with. I actually want to do a round with like a Sonic or a Dog disc and a Stego, and those are the only 2 discs you have. You can throw this thing on an Innie or an Annie, and I think it flips out of your hand and dives before it even leaves the tip of your finger. Super overstable. It has some utility for some weird get out of the travel shots when you just need to throw something on the ground and have it roll, or throw something up and know that it's going to flip over and sort of come down. Fun disc to play with, and that's the most thing I'm going to say about the Stego. Whether you're going to use it in a round or not, it's a fun disc to play with. If you got a little bit of extra cash that you're just looking for something to do with, pick one of these things up. It's just a hoot to throw. Crazy things you can do with, make videos, make bets with friends, whatever. I know some people have won some money betting people that they couldn't throw this very far, so I don't condone gambling, at least not illegally. But it's a fun disc. Definitely check it out. So yeah, sorry about the change in scenery here. Had a bit of a hiccup with the lawnmower next door. In general, I want to say thanks to RDG for the opportunity to be an ambassador. Please, anybody, feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about RDG. My socials will all be down below in the comments. Yeah, hope to talk to lots of you guys and maybe see you out on the course. Have a good one.